This is the human side of the story, and over the past 18 months or so, a lot of our human sides have been personal stories from either Neil or myself, and we've talked about a lot of our guests and just players and personalities that kind of fit into the human side. But today's section of our show is going to talk about our viewers and our listeners that have helped us so much during the course of this season.
It is. And by the way, did you have a wardrobe malfunction? Because that wasn't what you were wearing when Elliot was on our show.
No. As a matter of fact, the last show that we did last year, I had the blue one on. And so have you ever seen anybody look worse in coral or salmon or whatever this color is?
Are those Tommy Bahamas shirts? I mean, they certainly look like it.
It says Sun Surfer on here, so that's another free plug for somebody.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing. There's no way Lugaroo is making that thing.
They're not. But as we go forward here, I want to make sure that we are now addressing our listeners. And look, because I'm wearing this, it just shows how comfortable I am with the people that we speak to on a regular basis.
And just for those of you who aren't watching YouTube, Vic is wearing some god-awful Hawaiian shirt with palm trees, and from my vantage point, it looks pink. He says it's salmon, but it's one of those. It's one of those shirts that your grandfather wears when he goes on vacation.
And perhaps I'm closing in on becoming a grandfather. So there you go.
Oh, well, I hope not, because neither one of your boys are married.
Hasn't stopped other people. So I want to talk about 3 emails that we have received over the last little while. And one of them came from a gentleman named Antonio. He's originally from northern New Jersey, and I believe he is in Florida now. At least that's what the phone number that was at the end of his email. But a gentleman that listens and I think kind of looks up to you as a former Ranger GM.
Yeah, and a really nice email from him, talking about listening to the show and wanting to get in touch, which we will be doing to give him some help, perhaps if we can, with his career and any questions he has.
Second email came from a Kings fan from northern Idaho. And this gentleman's name is Tom, and he is a forklift driver who happened to come upon our podcast about 3 or 4 months ago. And this is a fellow that had never played goal before and wanted to give it a try and started playing goal over a decade ago for his beer league team, which was the worst in the league at the time. They're called the Slapsticks. And they went from worst in his 12-team league to losing in a shootout in the championship game. So under Tom's backstopping of his club, they've almost gone from worst to first. But just a great story. And I love that it's just somebody out in Idaho that has found us and considers us an important part of getting him through his day.
And through his forklift driving, and listens to it when he's doing that. And that's really fun. And we hope that we can get many, many more emails. But one of my favorite ones was Marco from Milan, Italy. Yes, that's the same Milan where the Olympics are going to be, that the NHL will be participating in. And
we said that we were going to bookend this show with Milan, and we certainly am. And Marco had written to us earlier and sent us a follow-up earlier this week. And he's got a friend named Angelito who is in South Florida, and his wife Sheila and sister Debbie who are second-generation Italians with parents from Sardinia. They opened a high-end restaurant in Weston, Florida, about 15 minutes away from Sunrise, and it's called Zona Blue. And soon after the Panthers won their second consecutive Stanley Cup, they got a visit from general manager Bill Zito, who came in for a family dinner. This is one of his favorite places to go. And he brought his friend Stanley along to help the patrons celebrate the Stanley Cup. And for those of you watching, we have photos from that event coming in. And this, to me, is one of the great pieces of this, where a gentleman in Milan has a friend in South Florida, and the Stanley Cup is won there, and there's that connection. And we want to thank our listeners in Italy, because after the United States, that is one of the biggest fan bases that we have.
Yeah, it's amazing. I guess we have a thing for Italy, and that's great that this turned out this way. That we were lucky enough to have a listener who has friends in South Florida where Bill Zito went. I mean, I consider us lucky, the lucky podcast that got that letter. But folks, I mean, if you're listening, if you're watching, send us an email. We love it. And we're going to have a whole little piece next season on, what our listeners are saying and a shout outs to listeners. So please do that. We read them all. So it's really great.
And we answer also.
We do.
But once we're done with this show, how about if I change out of this shirt, hop in the car, I'll drive from West Hartford to Greenville, pick you up, and then we could go to Zona Blue in Weston, Florida for dinner.
Are you going to pay?
I knew that was coming.
Well, yeah, because that's how I'm going to decide whether or not I'm going.
Yeah, well, I'm picking you up. I'm investing in the gas and the effort and the driving. So,
well, I can't afford that high-end restaurant.
Maybe we're going to have our buddy Marco pull some strings for us.
Yeah, well, that'd be good. I'd like to get a free meal once in a while.
That'll wrap up our show. Thanks to Elliot Friedman from Sportsnet and the 32 Thoughts podcast for giving us such great insight today. Thank you to Lugaru for outfitting us with these great looking polos. And thanks to UBS Financial Services, Inc. NHL Wraparound and UBS Financial Services, Inc. are not affiliated. UBS is a sponsor of 3 things you need to pay attention to. No other affiliation, relationship, or endorsement is made, suggested, intended, or should be implied or inferred between UBS and VNS Productions, LLC, or any of the individuals or businesses and or their respective products and services appearing in this program.
And again, we want to say thank you to the listeners for the whole season that have been joining us, whether you're just on for this one, is this your first one, or this is your 100th one. We want to thank you for listening. If you can, the more subscriptions we get, the more people that push that button subscribe, the better it is for us. And the longer we can keep going, although we don't intend on stopping. But we encourage you to send us emails, either Neil at NHLWraparound.com or Vic at NHLWraparound.com, or both of us. It doesn't really matter. We just want emails. We just want to hear who's listening. We want to read what your thoughts are, read what your comments are. Do you like the show format? Do you like the content? What would you like to hear about in the future? We are on all podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon, iHeart, Spotify. Of course, you can watch us on YouTube. But the main thing is, once our website is back up and running, go to our website for our whole catalog of shows. That's obviously NHLWraparound.com. So please, as I said, subscribe or like us or give us a check mark or something. And then on Twitter, which is now called X, we are on there as at NHL Wraparound, and you can see shorter clips on there of some of our shows. If you've got a very small attention span, just go on there. Our off-season schedule, we're looking to drop a couple of shows during the summer leading up to our very successful last summer coolers. They'll be dropped around the third week in August to get you prepared for what's coming in the 25-26 season.
I could not have put a wrap on that any better.
Well, that's why it's called Wrap Around.
Thanks for joining us on the NHL Wraparound podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on all the NHL action.